Good morning students, hope you all are well. So today we will start from the process of photosynthesis. So you know that with the help of sunlight, with the help of chlorophyll and carbon dioxide, this photosynthesis process will occur inside the palisade, means inside the mesophyll cells, means palisade and spongy parenchyma. Okay, let's start. Carbon dioxide, it is the most important raw material for photosynthesis, which the plant receives from outside. Okay, and that carbon dioxide will enter inside the leaf cells, or sorry, inside the mesophyll cells through the stomata, and the water is taken up from the soil, through the stem, and finally it will comes into the mesophyll tissue. Now the chemical reaction, that is 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O, with the help of light energy and chlorophyll pigment, it converts into glucose, that is C6H12O6, which is the most important food of plant, and 6H2O, and another important one, that is oxygen. Okay, so this chemical equation you have to learn, you have to remember it. So here you can see that 6 molecules of H2O is liberated at the end of the process. Okay, and also 6 molecules of carbon dioxide. Now there are actually two main phases of photosynthesis. One is light dependent and another is light independent phase, or dark phase. That not means ki it will occur at night or at evening. Dark phase means it is independent of light. That means for this light is not essential. Now first phase, that is light dependent phase or photochemical phase. Okay, so this generally occurs inside the chloroplast, means inside the thylakoid, which containing the chlorophyll pigment. So some steps are there. So first step, which is the activation of chlorophyll pigment. Okay, so the chlorophyll pigments, they are generally activated by the photon, which means they are activated by absorbing the photon. So photon is the smallest unit of light energy. So first activation of chlorophyll done. Next is splitting of water. Okay, now which water absorbed by the stems, they will split into uh, two components. So you can see in this reaction that 2H2O, with the help of with the activation of photon unit, or light energy, it will convert into 4H plus 4 electron and oxygen. Okay, so this reaction is known as photolysis. Photolysis means splitting of water with the help of light. So that is lysis means splitting, and photo means, as photon is responsible for this reaction, so it is photolysis. Okay, so where photolysis occurs in the grana of chloroplast, and is defined as the splitting of water molecules into hydrogen ion and oxygen molecule. Okay, with the presence of light. Here you can see hydrogen ion 4H plus O2 and 4 electron. Okay, now the next step, the end result of this process. So the hydrogen ion, which is formed in this photolysis process, that is picked up by another another compound, that is NADP. NADP, what is the full form of this? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Okay, to form NADPH. So NADP plus H plus ion, what it will form? It will form NADPH. Okay, so you can see the reaction, NADP plus one more hydrogen ion. Okay, so it will form NADPH with the help of some enzymes. Now the oxygen. Okay, this component is given out as molecular oxygen. Okay, so 2O will convert into O2. Molecular oxygen will form. Now the electrons, that where the electrons are formed in photolysis, they are used in converting ADP again into ATP, because already from ATP, from ATP, it will already converted into ADP. Now again we have to convert it into its original form. That means from ADP it will convert into ATP. So ADP means adenosine diphosphate plus one phosphate molecule, inorganic phosphate. So again it will convert into the same form, that is the ATP, means adenosine triphosphate. So this process is known as phosphorylation. Phosphorylation means addition of one phosphate group. So ADP diphosphate plus PI, that means we are adding one more phosphate to the ATP so that it can form ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so as this occurs with the help of light, so this is photophosphorylation. One is photolysis and one is photophosphorylation. So this is the light dependent phase. Okay, so in light dependent phase, what events are there? First is activation of chlorophyll, then splitting of water, then formation of NADPH, then formation of molecular oxygen, and after that photophosphorylation means again conversion of ADP into ATP. Now is the light independent phase or the dark phase. Okay, so dark phase did not means that it occurs at dark or at night. It only means that the reaction are not dependent on light. It is light independent. So the reaction in these phases do not require light energy, and it occurs simultaneously with the light reaction. Means light phase and the dark phase, they will occur simultaneously, both at the same time. Okay, so first is conversion of glucose into starch and other chemicals. So glucose though formed as the food, now we have to convert glucose so that they can store the food, means the plants can store the food. So glucose molecule are transformed or converted into starch. Okay, so this process means is the conversion of glucose molecule into starch is known as polymerization. Okay, so some plants change glucose into sucrose, like sugar cane, or which are chemically is called the disaccharide or the double sugar, or some convert glucose into some oils. Okay, now is the adaptations in leaf to perform photosynthesis. First we have to need large leaves so that the surface area will be huge, so that there is more absorption of light and more formation of food. Cuticle and upper epidermis are transparent and waterproof so that they allow light to enter freely. Numerous of stomata. Stomata will be, if there is huge number of stomata, so the gaseous exchange will be gaseous exchange will increase, or there will be rapid gaseous exchange. Chloroplast. The chloroplasts are concentrated in the upper layers of the leaf, means in the upper epidermis, so that they can absorb light energy very quickly. So these are some of the adaptations of plant. Now the end results of photosynthesis, that is glucose, water and oxygen. So glucose is the simple sugar which is immediately consumed by plant. We can means plant can convert sugar into starch, sometimes into sucrose, sometimes into fat and means sometimes into oils, and this help in synthesizing fats and proteins. Okay, now the water produced in the process can be reutilized in continuation of photosynthesis. And the last one, that is the oxygen, which is diffuses out from the stomata, and without oxygen we cannot exist. Now utilization of synthesized foods and its translocation. So food which is manufactured during this process, it can be transported to other parts of the plant or all the parts of the plant, so that the plant can grow, means there is proper growth and development of the plant. And sometimes some insoluble starch, it can be stored temporarily in the leaf. and at night the starch is reconverted into soluble sugar. Sometimes at night the starch is reconverted into sugar, and which is transported in the solution form from the leaf veins and also with the through the phloem stem, because you know that phloem tissue help in transportation of food. Now there are some factors which affecting photosynthesis. Some external and internal factors are there. So in external factor, light intensity and carbon dioxide. If light intensity will increase, but then the rate of photosynthesis will increase, but it is also to some extent or to certain level. After that it will not increase again, means the rate of photosynthesis will not increase again. Now the concentration of carbon dioxide. Concentration of carbon dioxide, if increased, photosynthesis also increased, and but that is also to a certain level, and after that the photosynthesis, after that if the concentration of carbon dioxide will again increase, then the rate of photosynthesis will not increase again. Now the temperature. When the temperature rises, the rate of photosynthesis also increase, or it rises. The rise occurs up to the temperature 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, and if it exceeds 35 degree, or if it exceeds 40 degrees Celsius, then photosynthesis rate will decrease. And water content, the scarcity of water due to reduced absorption of water from the soil, or due to an excessive loss through the transpiration, it will reduce the rate of photosynthesis. And the internal factor, that is chlorophyll, you know that if there is loss of chlorophyll, then they cannot trap the light energy properly, so the rate of photosynthesis will decrease. And protoplasm, dehydration of protoplasm, for some reason it can reduce the photosynthesis. Okay, means if the water content of protoplasm will reduce, then also it will reduce the rate of photosynthesis. And the structure of leaf, the thickness, the surface area, it will affect the rate of photosynthesis very, means it will increase or sometime it will decrease the rate of photosynthesis. Now that photosynthesis at night. So some desert plants and some epiphytes, they are able to release oxygen even during at night, but it is an exceptional, it is only for this desert plants, because it is an exceptional case. Okay, so during at night, as they perform photosynthesis using a different pathway. What pathway I have learned this time, that light dependent and light independent pathway. The epiphytes and the desert plants, they generally follow another pathway which is known as CAM pathway, so that they can release oxygen also at night, like some plants like aloe vera, tulsi, neem, etc. Okay, so now the experiments on photosynthesis. So first experiment is for destarching, or the removal of starch from the leaf. Okay, so we have to take one well potted plant, fresh plant, and we have to keep it in dark for 24 to 48 hours to destarch the leaf. So during this period, as it is present in dark, all the starch will be removed from the leaves and stored in the storage organ. Okay, so the leaves will not show the presence of starch. Now how to test it, how to confirm that no starch is present in the leaf. Now dip the leaf in the boiling water for a minute too, so that the cells will die. Okay, now now we have to boil the leaf in methylated spirit over a water bath till it comes pale white. Okay, due to the removal of chlorophyll. Pale white, as the chlorophyll pigment will remove, then the green color also be removed. Now the leaf become hard and brittle, it can be broken. Okay, now place it again in the hot water. Now spread the leaf on a dish and pour iodine solution. means first we have to place it in dark, and now we have, as we have to confirm it that it is already discharged, then we have to first boil it, then again boil it with methylated spirit, then again boil it so that it become quite white in color, and now we have to place it in iodine solution. Okay, the presence of starch will be indicated by a blue black color. If starch will present there, if starch is present in the leaf, so when we are adding iodine solution, that leaf will convert into a blue black color. But as if starch will not present there, then it will show a brown color. Okay, so in this experiment the leaf will show a brown color because no starch is present in the leaf. Now next experiment to show that sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis. First take a plant with discharged leaves. So now you know that how we have to discharge the leaves. We have to keep it in dark for 24 to 48 hours. Okay, now cover one of the leaves with a black paper. Okay, like make a design in the, like this design in the middle, and place this plant in the sun after discharging. So after a few hours, test the leaf with covered by the black paper for the presence of starch. Okay, now it will be observed that only the parts of the leaves which could get the light through the cut, only the parts of the leaves which could get the light through the cut, means through the cutout design, as well as those that were left uncovered by the paper, they will turn blue black, and rest of the part they are showing the brown color. That means the brown color, in this brown color no starch is present there, but the design, as they are they can absorb the light through the cut, so starch is present in that portion. Okay, next, to show that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis, take a plant with discharged leaf. Now insert a part of, means as you can see as you can see in the diagram, insert a part of the leaf, means one of the leaves, into a conical flask containing potassium hydroxide. So you can see this flask, this one, in number B, number A, you can see one leaf is inserted inside the conical flask, and inside the conical flask it is having the potassium hydroxide. Okay, which does not become blue black. Sorry, so which is containing potassium hydroxide. Okay, so why potassium hydroxide is present inside that conical flask? Because potassium hydroxide can absorb carbon dioxide. Okay, now leave the plant in sunlight, and after a few hours test the leaf with starch. Okay, so the part of the leaf which is exposed to the atmospheric air, means the outer part which is not inserted inside the conical flask, that become blue black, and the part of the leaf which is present inside the flask which is containing the potassium hydroxide, they does not become blue black. Why? That part showing that the carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. The part of the leaf outside the flask become the control experiment. Okay, so you can see in the diagram the outside part turns into blue and blue black, but the inside part, as potassium hydroxide consume all the, or they can absorb all the carbon dioxide, so the inside part, it does not convert into blue black. Now the next experiment to show that oxygen is produced during photosynthesis. First, place some water plants, any kind of water plants, hydrilla like this, into a beaker, okay, containing pond water, and cover them with short stemmed funnel. You can see here. First, inside the beaker, one means hydrillas are present there, and we have covered it into a conical means flask like structure. Now again insert a test tube of water over the stem of the funnel. Here you can see one test tube is already inserted over the stem of this funnel. Now place the apparatus in the sun for few hours so that after some time you can see that bubbles of the gas will collect in the test tube. Okay, now we have to taste the gas which is present in the test tube. A glowing splinter burns into the flame which shows the presence of oxygen, because you know that during photosynthesis it releases oxygen. Now what is the importance of photosynthesis? It gives us food. All animals are directly, including us, directly or indirectly dependent on the food. So all of you have know about the food chain, because plants are the autotrophs and we are the heterotrophs. So all these herbivore animals, they are directly dependent on the plants, and the carnivore animals, they are indirectly dependent on the plants. So for plants, making of food is very important, so that the process of photosynthesis is very much important. And they provides oxygen. This is as you know that this is the life supporting gas, so without this gas we cannot exist. So this, both the food and the oxygen, these are the most important material for photosynthesis, for an existing life. Okay, now should I think two side okay, now carbon cycle is there. So in carbon cycle different steps are there. First is photosynthesis. Green plants, which are the producers, they use the carbon dioxide from air to produce starch, mainly sugar, and after that they will convert it into starch. Now the food chain, through the food chain, the food containing carbon in carbohydrates and other products, they passes from the plants to the animals, because we are directly or indirectly dependent on plants. So in carbohydrates, carbon is present there, okay, so it will transfer from the plants to the consumers. So carbon is essential element for our body tissues, both for plants and animals. Now the respiration. All the plants and animals, they respire by oxidizing the carbohydrates in their cells, means glucose or any kind of sugar in their cells, to produce energy and give out carbon dioxide into atmosphere, right? Again we have given carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and again plant will take it through the stomata for the process of photosynthesis. Now decaying. The dead remains of plants and animals, they are actually consumed by the decomposers, means the fungi and bacteria and the microorganisms, and in this process they break down the organic matter and they release the particles and also the carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Okay, now combusting or burning. So when a fuel like the wood or any kind of fossil fuel like coal, petroleum, any kind of LPG, natural gas, is burnt, then the carbon content inside that is oxidized into carbon dioxide, means when we are burning something, carbon will convert into carbon dioxide with the help of oxygen, so which is given back into the atmosphere. So all the fuels named above originally come from the living organism. Okay, and heating limestone, a certain amount of carbon dioxide is released during heating or the burning of limestone in lime kilns. So all these are interacting with each other. Plant consume carbon dioxide, and animals, means all the consumers, they release carbon dioxide in through as their respiratory waste products, and again the plant will consume it, and decomposers will release the organic matter after the dead of from the dead and decaying matter of plants and animals. So now how the cycles will going on, so that is the carbon cycle. Okay, so this chapter is finished. So next class we'll start the next chapter.